What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I'm your host, Jimmy Smith, and with me tonight is a very special guest, my good friend from over at 4th and John, Mr. AJ Torres. AJ, how you doing tonight, brother?
What's up, Jimmy, man? Thanks for having me on.
Of course, dude. Of course. I've been trying to get you on. I know you were busy a little bit ago. You were able to go to the Senior Bowl, do some awesome work for 4th and John. If you guys weren't able to check that out, please do so. It's definitely a pleasure to have you on tonight, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I've been trying to get on here for a while. I try to tune in as much as I can, but being a dad sometimes gets in the way.
I know how that goes. Exactly how that goes. So happy to have you on, fit you in. I was watching a little bit of Sixers and getting ready for the show, getting pumped up. I'm like, all right, dude, finally got this young man on. Dude, so pumped to see your work, all the work you've been putting in. I actually knew you a little bit before you started working with 4th and John, just through social media, talking birds and talking football. So you've been putting in the work. Love to see it. So tonight, I just want to pick your brain a little bit and see what you saw at the Senior Bowl and, maybe get some names, see who you like. Get your name at 6, of course, for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then, of course, at the end, and, of course, we'll sprinkle it in. Some Eagles talk, anything that anybody out there, we appreciate you guys tuning in. But if you have any questions, any comments, please feel free in the comments to let us know. We'll be happy to let you join in the conversation. So tonight, I figure, everybody's they tune in and we talk birds, and somehow we do it every damn day. So let's just talk about some of these young men, dude, because this draft is loaded, and I'm pretty damn excited. I know you're pretty damn excited.
Yes, I am.
Maybe not for the way things have turned out for the Eagles, exactly how it's come this way, but we know that it's a rebuild mode, essentially. Not a complete rebuild, but we got 10 picks coming up here in this draft, man. I'm pretty excited for the Eagles, so I want to catch some names from you, see who you like. So you're able to go to the Senior Bowl via Zoom because of the fact of this damn COVID, but still pretty awesome getting eyes on the field, getting all the nitty gritty, and dude, you put some work in. So why don't we start off? We're talking nitty gritty, so why don't we start up front where it all begins in the trenches? We have some older linemen, man. And I love these guys. No knock on Lane or Brandon or Jason. Glad that there's restructures. The guys are coming back. Yeah. But we're getting older, dude. We need to address that. So who are some guys that you saw over at the Senior Bowl that maybe piqued your interest?
I'm going to come out right away and say Dylan Radins from North Dakota State. He is really the same type of player Lane Johnson was coming out of college. Very athletic, very well-rounded, not extremely strong in the lower half, but that can always be improved, worked on.
Yeah.
But overall, he held his ground that whole week.
Nice. I saw you did say something about him on social media. Any thoughts on Miners? Obviously, the big name that popped out. What did you see from him? What are your thoughts on him?
He's a very, very surprising prospect. Kind of a high riser out of nowhere, to be honest with you. His football season actually got canceled this year because of COVID. So he had to do a lot of workouts at home, as the videos are surfacing all around Twitter. He at the Senior Bowl, he looked very, very good. You just can't base it off of that week, but if you are, he definitely went from somebody who was going to be undrafted to possibly mid-tier, mid-round draft pick.
Definitely, and I agree with your sentiment there when you're talking about, and I agree wholeheartedly that you cannot put too much stock in this kind of stuff. And in a way, it sucks that you don't have the combine. It's all dependent on these pro days and all the stuff. But I was kind of like in the back of my head, like, well, maybe this is a good thing, because then everyone's not coming at you with, oh, did you see that broad jump? Did you see that 40 first round pick? It's over. So I agree with you in that sense, but it's still a nice way to check things out and everything. But you're right. A lot of social media videos, how fast he is. He broke his hand or whatever, and then he still wanted to play. So fantastic, great stuff. Anybody else on the line that you saw that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I really liked Trey Smith from Tennessee, the guard. I think I knew he was very good, but I didn't know how powerful he was. He's someone that can bully and pancake guys off the line, and it really opened my eyes to the type of player he was.
Okay. Any centers in there?
Yes, Creed Humphrey.
Okay.
He's a left-handed center,
Like
which is very it's very, very rare, the left-handed center.
Yeah, that is.
But he's a technician, powerful technician. I like him a lot. From an Eagle standpoint, he played with Hurts, so that makes a lot of sense going forward. If they want to bring in somebody to replace Jason Kelce, could be someone to look at right there.
Speaking of, things like that, they always pique your interest when you see, okay, this guy played with, especially a quarterback now, assumed to maybe be our QB1. We'll see what happens. But I thought that was interesting last year when they picked up that kid, Ross Pierschbacher from Washington, because he had played with Jalen Hurts as well as a center. And, he's been used as more of a guard in the NFL. But I think that's, that's a good call there, man. You always want to look at things like that. And, Jalen Hurts, very intriguing. We'll get to that a little later. But the run game, I think that, running behind this line, if we're healthy, sure, we want to add depth to it. We got some depth last year, like Urbig, Driscoll. We'll see what happens with Dillard and Mailata. But the run game, dear God, it looks like we might have a head coach in Nick Sirianni that might effing run the ball. Yes, how excited are you about that, AJ?
You don't understand. Miles Sanders is my favorite Eagle, so
hell yeah.
It excites me that we have a coach coming in who possibly wants to pound the rock, but at the same time, if he goes with his Colts roots, it's going to be a committee no matter what. So we might have to deal with that again. But in hindsight, Miles needs to prove that he can stay on the field. So bringing in a legit number 2 running back would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a great point because, we all clamor. We love Miles Sanders, right? He's a great running back, but we're like, yeah, give him effing 20 Ks a game. But it's like, well, can he handle that each game for 16 games? And if we're going to 17 soon, it's like, dude, look, I'm all for adding an RB2 to not necessarily take his snaps away, but you've seen how successful teams have been with 2 backs. And I think we were, right? Yeah, it's like, it drives me insane. Last year, I was so pissed off. So Doug didn't run the ball anyway. Now, hopefully, Nick Sirianni runs the ball. You talk about it, could be a committee anyway. It probably is. You saw how he used Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. I think that, you have Boston Scott. If anything, he's a 3rd or 4th back. So you bring somebody in, maybe a veteran, maybe someone in the draft to help out Miles if maybe they don't have him, carrying that big load. Anybody you saw at the Senior Bowl that piqued your interest at the running back position?
Michael Carter, right off the bat.
Yeah.
He is Nyheim Hines 2.0, if not Nyheim Hines A+. Like,
I love it, man. That's a great name, man. Go ahead.
The thing is, people say, oh, well, he's size, he's short, he's only 5'7", 5'8". He is a bruiser. He has very, very good body contact, body balance, bounces off. I'm a UNC guy through and through. I was brought up that way. My dad was a big time UNC basketball guy, so I just ended up going to the whole thing. He, not even just being biased, he is a stud. Both of those guys are. Yep. So
I was going to say, what's awesome about you bringing up Michael Carter was I was talking to our good pal Gail over at 4th and John about he said Javonte Williams, and I was like, yeah. I was like, dude, and Michael Carter. He was like, exactly. It's like, just give me either one. I don't care. So I'm all about it, dude.
I'm so high on both of these guys. They're both in my top 4. Like,
love it. And that's the thing. I was dancing with him in my top 5 too. And that's the thing. We're talking about guys that are at the Senior Bowl, guys. So this isn't necessarily the first round guys that you're all going to be, I saw this guy. Yep. But here's the thing. These are the guys that are more realistic to actually get on the Eagles. So it was great to have AJ there and to, have your insight. So Michael Carter.
Yep.
Anybody else at the running back position?
I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. Ramondre Stevenson. From I like him. He reminds me of basically Garrett Blunt.
I was going to say, isn't he that power Blunt you need? Yep.
He's a monster, big time.
And he could kind of, his blocking isn't the best, but he's probably better than what we have. Right?
I don't know, man. He looked really good.
He's strong as an ox. It's just technique, I would say he needs to work on. But that's something that can be taught. I think this kid could be a effing beast. I had him in a mock coming to the Eagles. I was like, dude, could you imagine Miles? So, yeah, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So you like his blocking, though? You think he's pretty damn good at that? You think
I think he's better than what he's being portrayed as.
Okay. Now, what I saw wasn't too much. That's why I'm glad to have you on. You definitely saw a lot more than me. Right. What about his pass catching, too?
It's not great, but it's not bad. It's
for a guy his size too.
Yes, yeah.
And I was when I was talking to Gail, I brought up Ramondre, and I was telling him, if you can have a guy like that, that he can at least provide that third down back. Are they running? Maybe they're, because the trickery in the NFL now. But it's like if this dude can catch too, that adds a whole another element to the game. So, I was high on that as well. So I'm glad that, his pass catching. So I'm glad that,
there's guys outside the Senior Bowl that I prefer over him. But if we're going off a Senior Bowl, I really like him as a potential running back.
Well, I'm going to come back after the Senior Bowl talk, and we're definitely going to get to some of the names that you really like here. But this is definitely the Senior Bowl is a way for most people to get a chance to learn some of the names, that they probably have no idea. A lot of these guys I didn't know some of them till you were writing about them, so it's a great way to learn. Now, speaking of skill position, let's go to the wide receivers. There were some guys I really liked at the Senior Bowl. Who were some names that stuck out to you?
Nico Collins. Maybe not in the actual game, but the practices, he was just a complete 50-50 machine.
I like him in college,
catching everything at the high point down the field. It really looked like Mike Williams out there. If you didn't see the name on his back, that's who you would probably see.
It's a good comparison. I like him too. That's a bigger one. I mentioned him a couple weeks ago in a video saying, I know people, and I'm one of them. I want Jamar Chase, and honestly, you could give me any of these top weapons, but we're talking about if Kyle Pitts, is the pick in the first round. Well, there's a lot of really good receivers in this draft that you can find in later rounds. And that was one of the names I mentioned. So that's a good one. Who are some of the other ones? Because I know there's definitely some more really good receivers over there.
Again, what he wasn't really a factor in the game, but in practices and
this is important, guys. The practice is very important at Senior Bowl.
Frank Darby from Arizona State. Kid's a playmaker in the making. If he gets with the right team, I think he could be very good in the NFL.
Nice. That's a good one. And he did have a couple plays that he stuck out to me in the game. That's a good one. Anybody else at the receiver you want to talk about?
I really liked the kid from Tennessee, Josh Palmer. He displayed great hands all week. Great hands, great contact balance. Very big, very strong. He's a lot faster than I saw in previous game film.
Okay. Kadarius Toney when he was at the Senior Bowl?
He played well during the week. You could tell how electrifying he is.
Yeah.
But he had a lot of drops.
I noticed that. That's what I was hoping you'd get to.
A lot of drops during the week. And that's going to be an issue moving forward. I still think a team's going to take a chance on him at the back end of the first round. But he's going to have to hit the jug machine big time.
Yeah, and obviously as a wide receiver, it's kind of important to use those hands.
Mhm.
So that was one of the concerns I had too. If he could drop to a certain point, maybe, a team would definitely, obviously somebody's going to take him. He's
Right.
electric. But there's definitely some concern there.
A lot of it are concentration drops, which is even more concerning in my opinion. They're not difficult, you know what I mean? So a lot of it is in between the ears than it is anything else. But I mean, you could see how dynamic he is as a player when he does have the ball in his hands, though. So you got to reap the benefits there.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, not on the same page of what's going on with the quarterback, and that's not good to see at a practice a lot of times. Yeah. So definitely some current concerns there, but I think that he's definitely electric. He could definitely help a team out. But I think the Eagles, we have a player just like that, and people talk about, what concentration drops. It's like that's actually a big difference than having bad hands because Jalen Reagor, I think when he was at TCU, some of the things, it was definitely concentration, thinking about making the big play. Am I going to get the ball again? So it's like I might as well try a big play here. Oh, crap, it didn't even catch the ball. Well, he had one drop last year. It is what it is. But he needs to definitely work on.
Yes, he does.
Here. So I think, those are things that can be worked on. You saw Kyle Pitts, his first year in college. That was the thing that people knocked on him. Then he goes out last year, doesn't have a drop. And it's like, look, these guys just sometimes need the right coach. And Brian Johnson, somebody that helped over there with Kyle Pitts, just happens to be our quarterback coach now. So, hey, good coaches go a long way, man. And just because these guys are young, we could take a little brief second. What are your thoughts on some of these young coaches? I mean, are you thinking dread it's all over because they're young? Are you giving these guys a little bit of a chance here?
There's a couple coaches that they brought over that I really liked. Like I'm a big Shane Steichen guy. I what he did with Justin Herbert is just fantastic. That offense, regardless of what the record showed, was fantastic all year long.
And missing Eckler, dude, with a rookie quarterback, punctured lung before a game for Tyrod, and he gets thrust in, Herbert, and people, and literally they just read too much. And it was 2 bad plays he had on 4th down, the calls, Shane Steichen, and people, he's a bad. I saw an article right when he signed. They were glad to see him go. I was like, get out of here, dude. Because seriously. I was excited. I made a video that night. I made a video every night for every coach because, well, you got to be talking about something. And it's exciting to get to know, what I do here at On the Road to Victory. This is just, what do I do in a day? I find out everything Eagles. So I just pretty much give it back, So I was excited about his signing as well. Any other coaches that popped out that you really like?
The defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon. Not so. The thing with him is I knew about him, but I didn't know so much about him. But when I started to read into him and find out that he's a Mike Zimmer disciple, I just absolutely jumped for joy. Absolutely jumped for joy.
He got that ass whooping in 2017 from the Eagles, but yes.
I know, that's fine. But
hey, from that blitzing Mike Zimmer defense, you're right.
Yeah, for just the type of players we have on this team and the type of players that he could bring, I just think the sky's the limit for the defense. I think that this team will end up being more defensive minded than offensive minded. I know it sounds crazy, but I just think that a Mike Zimmer type attitude defense is usually like that.
I don't think that's crazy at all, AJ. I think you're on the same road as I. I've been talking about this for weeks. I know they're young. I know they've never been coordinators at this level before. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Shane Steichen has been, but Nick Sirianni, a head coach, Jonathan Gannon, defensive coordinator. Everybody's losing their mind. Let's be real here, guys. I'm excited as well about the play they bring. So not so crazy to think they're reliant on this defense. You saw what the Colts did last year, and then a nice run game. So we talked about running the ball. So if we run the ball and with our dual threat quarterback, if that's who we're rolling with, a lot of running, a lot of play action, a lot of things. But if you can establish that run and all that fun stuff, a great defense will allow all those things to just flourish. So obviously we're not trying to be John Madden here and state the obvious, but, it's it's what this team needs to get that back to basics. And
Yep.
I'm excited about it, man. I am too. So I love the names, and I think Brian Johnson was somebody obviously we just talked about with Florida, coming in as a quarterbacks coach. Excited to see what he does with Hurts and whatever's going on. Also very excited for Jannard Wilson, the defensive backs coach, because he was actually a passing game coordinator as well the last couple of years with the Jets.
Right.
So just so many guys that with that they understand the game is changing, that whole passing concept, and it's a passing league. And dude, I talk about getting back to the run, but obviously other teams, everybody's, what's happening. So I'm excited as well. What's going on, Malcolm? Thanks for tuning in, my man. Thank you to Houston. Hope you guys are all having a great night. Thank you to everybody. Anything you guys want to chime in with, perfectly fine. Right now, we just took a break. We were talking about the coaches, but we're going over some of the guys that AJ saw at the Senior Bowl. He was lucky enough to be there via Zoom with he was a representative for 4th of July, so it was awesome. Just picking his brain, trying to see who he saw. So let's get back into it. We talked about some receivers. Now, how about some tight ends? Because Zach Ertz could most likely be gone in the next couple of days here.
And Sirianni loves his tight ends.
Sure does.
Loves them.
I just talked to Gail about that. 12 personnel, 13 personnel. Bring it.
Yep. Hunter Long. He's probably and I'm being like this because he's my guy. When you're talking about one of my guys, he's one of my guys. I've been on his train from the beginning. He's just such a well-rounded tight end. He reminds me a lot of, I know this sounds crazy, but I would say a more athletic Jack Doyle, which it may not get a lot of people excited, but he does a lot of the dirty work that we don't have on his team right now. I mean, you could say what you want about Ertz. He didn't do a lot of the dirty work. Yes, he's a great receiving tight end. Yeah. But same thing with Dallas. Dallas, decent blocker, but he doesn't do a lot of dirty work. Another receiving guy. We need to get somebody back in like a Brett Selleck for that 12, 13 personnel. Yep. He has reliable hands. Big time. The problem with him is people say he's not a top flight athlete. He's not a Kyle Pitts. He's not a Brevin Jordan, but he's not a complete dud. You know what I mean? He's not. He's probably going to run I'd say high 4.6, maybe 4.7 in the 4.7s, which isn't terrible. So, I liked him a lot.
No, I love it. I was talking on Soko's show a couple weeks ago, and that was one of the names we were talking about. I like Hunter Long because of the fact of all those reasons you just mentioned there, and I likened him to Kyle Rudolph a little bit. Somebody that's not going to, he's just going to come in. He's not going to be huge, this huge playmaker, but like you said, he's going to be in there most of the snaps because he's doing the dirty work. He's going to allow in a 12 personnel, a 13 personnel, these other guys that are more receiver-like to get those receptions. So, and then when they're all keying in on those other guys, boom, all of a sudden he's catching a touchdown, killing your fantasy team. Son of a bitch, why didn't I play him? 3 catches, 18 yards, a touchdown. You know what I mean? So I like
the thing about Hunter Long is he got like a decent, like his floor isn't low, but his ceiling isn't too high. Like it's not going to be like a Kyle Pitts, but like I could see his ceiling being like a Heath Miller type of player.
He could be good. I like him. And I think he could have an impact on fantasy. That was the thing we were talking about. And it's like, I think he's a guy that could sneak in because he does have that dual. He can actually block, but he's so sneaky that he could definitely be hitting you all right in the red zone. That's a perfect kind of guy. So I love it, man. Any other kind of tight ends you saw there? Same kind of mold or maybe more receivers, blockers that you liked?
I thought Noah Gray from Duke had a very good week. He had probably one of the best catches of the entire week down there. But he was a guy that surprised me. He was a very, very good receiving tight end. He was a little stockier than I thought he was, but he moved very well.
Nice.
Blocking wise, he did a lot better than I thought he was going to. Wasn't great but he wasn't bad by any means. He was a guy that could intrigue the Eagles in the later rounds.
I love it. And you talk about it. You mentioned this team, Sirianni. He likes tight ends. And I was talking earlier, like I said, with Gail, and he said, about 12 personnel, about 13 personnel. And I was like, that's going to be a staple here. And he said somebody was telling him, why would we run that? And it's like, haven't you seen what Sirianni? And regardless, that's definitely the way we're headed.
Right.
If you saw Trey Burton, Mo Alley Cox, Jack Doyle you brought up, look, he's looking for guys just like that. And we're going to need multiple guys because if Ertz is gone, then you're left with Goddard and Crew. Rodgers is a restricted free agent. You have all the other guys are like practice squad guys, whatever, who cares? But you don't have much. So definitely some names to watch out for. So good one, Noah Gray. Anybody else that stood out to you there?
Not too much.
Yeah.
No one really popped at me like more than those guys.
Houston's saying here he would love Brent back as a coach. Hey, I think we'd all be for that. Brent is a great man. He's doing his thing. Maybe he'll come back one day. All for it. We won a Super Bowl with the tight end being our leading receiver. Yes, we all remember that, and we won it. That's what we're saying. We agree with you completely. Bring in that 12 personnel, and then it's going to – dude, if we run the ball, just imagine all the things we're going to be able to do. I really think this offense is going to be exciting, especially if we add a weapon or 5 this draft. So I really want to focus on the defense a lot in this draft. So, I mean, we'll see. Let's get not too carried away here. And you need linemen. A lot of good names that AJ was dropping here. So we've talked about the offense. Let's just imagine right now that Jalen Hurts is the quarterback. We don't draft the quarterback at 6. Who are some guys you saw at the Senior Bowl that you think maybe if we brought in a veteran to back up Hurts and help groom him, who's a guy you think could come in, not really competing with anybody, but, get groomed and maybe be something one day, or someone you just liked at quarterback at the Senior Bowl?
Kellen Mond.
Okay.
I'm a big Kellen Mond guy. I think he's rising a little bit more now. He's got a lot of athletic traits to him. He's got a big, strong arm. He's mobile. His problem is he's not that accurate, but with a good quarterbacks coach, he could end up being a very good backup in this league, if not a starter at some point. I mean,
That's one of those guys you're not mad at if you take in day 3.
Yep. He's got a live arm. Yes, he does.
He does. And I watched some tape on him after the Senior Bowl. I was like, this kid's a little wild. I want to
see
him.
He's a bruiser too, man. I
like him.
And I'm not comparing him to Cam, but he's got that type of play to him.
He's tough, yeah. And I agree with you. And he's fun to watch. So we're not getting carried away here, guys. Like, oh, he's the next starter. Yeah. It's just no, literally, like he could be way later. It's a day 3 pick we're talking about here. But yeah, he was exciting for me to watch as well. Any other quarterbacks that stood out to you?
I thought Ian Book had a better week than I thought he was going to, but that's not saying much.
Yeah.
I mean, Felipe Franks played okay.
I tried to get more excited because they were trying to pump me up, like when I was watching the Senior Bowl. I'm like,
I mean, I knew Mac Jones wasn't going to play, but he looked good.
Which gave us more time to see these guys. Yeah, and he did. So it's like
good in practice, man. He looked good.
I know. And it's like, and that's where, and it's funny because then I'm like, it's just practice. But it's like, you're not saying that for the other guys. So it's like,
he made some Manning Brady type throws.
They were pumping him up, man. They were showing a bunch of stuff. I was like, all right. They were trying to get me into it, man. I was kind of feeling it.
I'm still not huge on him because of the game being so mobile nowadays. I'm not saying he's a complete dud athletically, but I mean, he's a pure pocket passer, and the league is kind of getting away from that. Yeah. So because of that, he's a little lower on my list, but I think he's still decent. If he gets with a team with a good line and preaches quick, quick type offense, like in New England.
I was thinking that when you were saying
like in New England, I think it could be scary.
Yeah,
I think he's got high floor, high ceiling.
Yeah, the Patriots,
potential.
that'll probably be their top quarterback selection. 6th round. Felipe. It's like, they're ridiculous, man.
Oh, yeah.
I think we agree, Houston, that yes, Kyle Pitts has a much higher upside than Ertz did coming out of college. Yes. This dude is being talked about being in the Hall of Fame already. I think getting carried away, but he's pretty effing good. I think he's going to have a pretty successful career in the NFL. But the Legion of Plume is in the building. What's going on, my man? Thanks for tuning in. We're just going over the Senior Bowl. We just got done talking about the offense. Gonna try to go through the defense, I guess, a little quicker. We're already halfway through the show here. We will get we're throwing the Eagles in, though, with it, because we're talking about where these guys would fit, whatever. But, okay, defensive side of the ball. On that line, we don't know if Derek Barnett's coming back. We saw a bunch of restructures, all that great stuff. Who you seeing at the Senior Bowl that stuck out to you on the defensive line?
Carlos Basham Jr.
Okay.
Dude is a tank. He is a tank, dude. He inside, can play outside. He's very technical. He can hit you any move in the textbook. The problem with him is the tweener thing. You don't know if he's going to play inside or outside. I think that's a benefit because you can put him on the inside or outside. I was just very impressed with him.
Yeah, hey, I'm all about versatility as well. And I think in this kind of defense, which I'm hoping it will be, I think a guy like that would definitely fit in. Yeah. Anybody else on that line?
I like Rashad Weaver from Pitt. He's a late round guy that I think with the right coaching staff could be very good in the NFL.
Nice. I'm also a fan of Rashad Weaver myself.
Yeah, he's got the prototypical defensive end body that you want in today's NFL.
Yep. Yeah. I just dream of Brandon Graham retiring after a year or two, whatever he's got left. And it's Sweat, Weaver, tearing people apart, just coming off. I'm all about it. So
for me, I know it's off the Senior Bowl topic, but Jalen Phillips, man, he falls to 37.
You're reading my mind all day, dude.
It's a wrap.
I just talked about him the other day on my video. I said that exact thing. For me, if Asante Samuel and Jalen Phillips are there at 37, I might, oh my God, I don't care. At that point, it's like, oh, Jesus.
See, I'm not as high on Asante Samuel's Jr. as everybody else is.
Well, here's the thing for me. I do like him. I do. I just think we might have a chance at him just because J.C. Horn, Caleb Farley, and Patrick Surtain are going to be gone before 37. So if we need to address outside corner, I think we could give him a chance. But it depends. If we get rid of Derek Barnett, I said, dude, I literally just said this last week. Look out for edge. Look out for an edge rusher. And dude, Jalen Phillips, what a perfect name. That kid is a freak.
He's unreal, dude. He's so good. He's high rising too, man. He's going top 25 in my opinion.
He could definitely be off the board.
Yeah, without a doubt. But me, I don't get the hyper. Like he's in my top 10, like Asante Samuel Jr. He's in my top 10, but I'm not as hyped about him as everyone else. Like
there's some pretty effing good corners. So it's like, what if we would get what if someone like Greg Newsome? What if DJ Daniel? What if you focus on that in a later round the second? Maybe
Greg Newsome might be a first round pick now.
Oh, I know. Now everyone's talking him up. I'm like, mother.
I've been talking about dudes since before the new year.
I know you have. And, there's a lot of really good names that, are out there in this draft. And that's what I've been saying, with these 10 picks. It's going to be really hard to mess this up. But, of course, if anyone could. But it's just like, dude, there's so much talent. And I love what you're saying here because it's like, look, I agree. Maybe Asante isn't that pick because if someone like Jalen Phillips is there, you might have to go ahead and take Jalen. And then
if they take Asante Samuel Jr. over Jalen Phillips at 37, I'm done. I'm completely done.
Oh, yeah, true that, man. I would be happy just with an outside corner, I think, just the fact that they would address it. So I don't think they will. I think edge rush would be, especially if Derek Barnett is gone, that's definitely the move. I think I agree with you 100%, especially if he would fall 37 or maybe if he falls to like a 32, 33, 33 maybe day two, you move up a couple picks. I don't know. Exciting name, though, to talk about. Getting me excited here thinking about a team that actually gets to the quarterback. I'm ready for some effing football, dude. But speaking of getting to the quarterback, what about some linebackers? We need some help with coverage. We know we have Singleton and Davian Taylor, and we know we have young guys that are maybe going to be something. But
UNC guy, man, Chaz Surratt. It's my guy.
Yeah, you've been talking about him. Hell yeah.
I've been talking about him forever. Yes, like me being a UNC guy, it's what I'm going to do. But he's a pure pursuit guy, man.
I like him. I've been seeing more talk about him now too. But yes, you've been talking about him for a while.
He didn't run that well at that thing that they had going on the other day.
Yeah, whatever.
He didn't run great. He was like high 4.6, low 4.7, but he plays so much more faster than that.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I don't. Like, it's exciting when you see a guy run real fast. Like, that's cool. Like, get excited about it. Yes, but don't put so much stock. Some people are like, he's going to be the best. Look at John Ross. What's that?
Unless you're really looking into these guys and scouting and going behind the scenes, a lot of people don't know he was a quarterback there first. He literally got recruited there as a quarterback and switched to a linebacker. Crazy. Like, if you were to watch his film, you would not think at all that he ever played quarterback.
Yeah, that's
which
crazy.
Which tells you he's a fast learner, which tells you that he may still be green, but if he gets with the right coaching staff, it could be scary how much potential the kid has. Because he already can hit the hole. He can already hit the gaps like a shot out of a missile. He's very smart with reading the lanes.
I was going to say he's reading the lanes because he's an effing quarterback. Okay.
And his pass coverage is very, very good.
That's what we need.
It's very, very good. And that 40 time for him doesn't show his game speed because he's rangy. He can go sideline to sideline very quick.
You know who I saw that kind of reminds me of that, where they're like, oh, he doesn't have the speed? I think Nick Bolton was one of the people that stood out to me.
My guy, dude.
Yeah? Okay. Hell yeah.
A lot of people are putting him into the second round range. I like him in that back end first round.
He could be, man. He definitely could be. But you shut your mouth, AJ.
If he's another one there at 37.
Could you imagine? That's what I'm saying. Could you imagine if the Eagles are finally like, okay, you know what? There's a really effing good linebacker. We're not going to suck ass, and we're finally going to put an emphasis at linebacker. Nick Bolton, 37th pick. I'd be pretty damn happy with it.
I feel with the Colts situation with Sirianni and Gannon, they were there for Darius
Leonard.
You might have to think about taking one of those top-notch guys at 37 because a good linebacker. Let me fix that. A great linebacker completes your defense. You can have a great linebacker and two subpar guys, but if you have that one that can make those guys better, it just elevates the entire defense.
Yep.
And that's what they've been missing. I think the Eagles have a very good second guy.
Yeah.
In Singleton.
A lot of second guys, actually.
Right. But promising. Singleton, I think, has potential. Has potential to be a very good player in this league. But if you bring in a guy like a Bolton, like a Jabril Cox, someone who has that range, it
changes the game.
It changes the entire defense.
Dude, I can't stress that enough. And that was something exactly what I brought up. I'm like, hey, maybe because it's like the first date, first draft with Gannon and Sirianni and Steichen. Maybe they'll be like, hey, what do you guys like? And that's exactly what I said. Maybe Gannon's like, dude, don't know if you guys have ever heard of Darius Leonard, but he kicks some ass. All about it, dude. So, please.
So we're talking about the second rounds and we need a corner and all that. I just think that this year is so much. There's so much depth at that position this year that a guy who goes in the third would have been a early second last year. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that they may think about, or not maybe trade up. Who knows? But in my opinion, I don't think they touch that until maybe the third round on. Yeah, only because there's a bunch of corners in free agency who are low end guys who you can sign. You know what I mean? If you're a good coaching staff, you can find yourself a cornerback in the third who can be a starter. So
And exactly. And last year, they took kind of a reach on somebody I liked, but I would have probably liked more if they took him in the fourth, maybe even if you dropped to the fifth. But Davian Taylor, I'm hopeful that, he's healthy and can show something. But yeah, the Eagles probably won't put too much emphasis again on the damn linebacker position. But anybody else that stood out to you at that Senior Bowl there?
I like the kid Browning from Ohio State. He's shooting up people's boards right now.
Yep.
He played very well that whole week. He was blowing up running backs and tight ends on the one-on-one drills in practice. It's very technical, very technical. He has DN moves as a linebacker, so he's
might be something that's of value in this defense.
Yes, but the thing is, he's starting to get like top 20 prospect like views around the league, and
it's great.
Take him in the first.
I talk about the fact that this draft is effing loaded. There's so many kids that you're like, I don't know, maybe I have him in the top 20, and then you're like, maybe he's top 30, and then you're like, well, this guy, he's got to be top 20, and you're like, yeah, but I can't take him out, and you're like, holy shit, like, so with 4 picks in the top 84 picks of this draft, I mean, oh my god,
you have to get 3 legit starters out of those 4.
You have to. And I think, honestly, if Howie wants to have any kind of saving grace, he has to hit on all 4 of those mother effers, because you traded Wentz, people are ready to murder you. So
I'll give him leeway for 3 out of the 4.
I'll try to be with
have to be impactful starters.
Yep.
Not just starters who are
only one I'm okay with is if he gets us a lineman that could be somebody in the future learning from the greats.
Yep. Exactly. Lineman or
a starter. Yeah.
Yeah. They have to nail 3 of them to be impactful.
It's stupid
starters.
Not to, because they've been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Wasted away Arthega-Whiteside. I mean, come on.
Don't even get me started on him, dude. There are people who are really trying to like.
I talked about it last night.
This week.
Jason Avant and Quentin Michael were talking about him.
Jason, like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to disrespect Jason Avant, but he wasn't even an all-pro. Like, he was really
don't you slander that man. I love Jason Avant. But no, he's
a great guy, but I
get what he's saying. He wants to see them get the best out of Arthega-Whiteside, use him in the slot. I get it, but look, I don't think he makes his team. You have too much really young talent that I like in Reagor, Fulgham. And they brought back Ward on dirt cheap. He's going to be hopefully your 5th, 6th receiver. You have Hightower and Watkins, who are really young, have some kind of promise, but you need to get a stud at the beginning of this draft, and then somewhere throughout get another one. There's really good weapons in this draft. If you get a couple of really good receivers to add to the mix, I don't know how Arthega-Whiteside makes it, and the only way Greg Ward is because he's cheap. But
that's the one thing that like bothers me about this organization.
And good,
it's just like they really like feel that, like, don't get me wrong, I think that Hightower and Watkins have potential, but they put them on a pedestal like their 1st, 2nd, 3rd round picks. Like, there's a reason why you took them in those rounds instead of earlier.
Oh yeah, so those are your 4th and 5th receivers,
right? So you need to capitalize on your 1 and 2 guys, even your 3rd guy. Like, to me, I was one of the biggest Reagor guys in the world, but I don't see him being a number 1 receiver in this league. He is a good number 2. He's like a Jeremy Maclin who struggled in the beginning of his career, who hit a stride late, which I think is what Reagor
Jackson,
right? Which I think is what Reagor is. You know what I mean?
Well, the way I see it, they didn't utilize him correctly, and
which is true.
You could say whatever, but I think he's going to be really great, and I think you're not even going to know. Because I think they do add a weapon, and we're just going to see 2 studs. And I think, if you consider him 2, he's going to be that Z receiver, not
which is a Jeremy Maclin.
Exactly. No, you're right. You're exactly right. And that's why I want us to get a weapon so that he can just flourish. And I don't even care if whatever they want to call it, as long as you're just not a bust, and I don't think he's that. But then via free agency or whatever, I think you get somebody to fill that slot role. So Marquise Goodwin, you've heard maybe he restructures. We talk about Greg Ward being your dependable, young, cheap contract. Look, if there's a veteran you can get in that could start, you do that. Then you have that stud in the draft we talked about, then you have maybe another guy you bring in the draft and you make them compete. You make Hightower and Watkins compete because, like I just said, and you said it yourself, they're 4th and 5th round. They're not guys that are coming out and I mean, Watkins has got some damn speed. He's great.
Yes,
Hightower can run some routes, but dude, he drops some effing balls that I would like to punch him in the face for. So it's like these guys got to work on their stuff.
Worse than what he was.
What's that?
Made Carson look a lot worse than what he was.
Yeah. And it's like that they didn't get the fair end of the stick either because, like you just said, the organization tried to like whoop, whoop, and it's like, bruh, what? We know what you're dude. You effed up. You gave Alshon money to Deshaun. Now these guys are hurt. Now we're throwing in these young guys in a corona-stricken effing season. No preseason. It's like, dude. So I feel bad for them. We'll find out though this offseason what they've got. So now we'll get back on track. Sorry about that, guys. But hey, I love it. Who's some guys at the cornerback position that you see covering some of these receivers that we're talking about at the Senior Bowl?
Aaron Robinson was huge that week. He solidified him as a second-round pick. I would say second-round pick is what he's going to be. The kid St. Just from Minnesota completely flew up the charts.
Nice.
If there was a guy who helped his stock big time in that whole week, it was him. He looked really sticky, very physical, big kid.
How tall is he?
I believe he's 6'2" or 6'3".
Ooh.
So he's a big body, very big body. He looked really good. And he's rising up too.
Nice.
In the draft. Yeah, he's in my top one.
I dig it. Anybody else that stuck out to you at corner?
I thought DJ Daniel played very well that week. I think he played better than he did. Like there was times where he had lapse in his game. He tried pulling the trigger too quick on some reads, but down the field, he had some very good down the field coverage all week.
Oh yeah,
and then,
I was impressed as well.
Yeah, my guy Efi Melifonwu.
Yeah, you got to interview him.
He's sticky, man. He's sticky.
I know you're a huge fan, man. You guys got to check it out. He did a talk to prospect over at 4th John. He got to talk with Efi. So yeah, talk it up, brother.
I actually talked to Darius Williams. That's who I talked to.
Well, what's the Efi thing that you had retweeted? I thought that was. I guess I'm just a drifter than that, man.
Nah, I only got to do one interview.
I thought that.
Yeah, it was with Darius, but I know I put out a video of.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. I put a lot of
videos. Interview in your video.
I put a lot of videos out that week, but if we're talking about the best man-on-man corner that whole week, I would say Efi probably was the best. He looked so sticky. It was, and even the plays that he got beat on, he just had the quick twitch ability to get right back on track. He looked very good. He's another guy who's big. He's going to be seen as either a safety or corner because he's 6'3", like 210. He's a big
hybrid.
kid.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah.
But that's my guy.
Love it. Now at safety, anybody that intrigued you there? Because we know we got Kayvon last year, but who knows what we'll do with Mills? Maybe who knows with McLeod? I know he's on the roster, but who stuck out to you at the Senior Bowl there?
Richie Grant. Just UCF boys played very well that week. Team's very underrated, man. That's a very underrated program down there.
Sure,
but
I agree with you, and he was nice too.
Yeah, Richie Grant showed a lot of one-on-one coverage skill that I didn't know he had.
His tape's badass too, man. He's a bad dude.
Yes, he is. He can pack a punch. But
I like him, man.
I seen him more as a box safety at times, but his practices showed a lot of coverage skills that I didn't know he had. And
he could definitely improve that too. So yeah, I'm with you.
Big time.
Hell yeah. He could be a steal, dude.
You ain't lying. Other than that, I didn't really see anybody that popped out to me. There was a couple guys that were okay, but no one worth noting, in my opinion.
And no doubt, you don't want to be throwing your name on people and like, hey, look, I was just giving you a name. Now, who are some names that weren't necessarily at the Senior Bowl that you want to you're talking about your guy earlier? Who are some names that you think could be possible for the Eagles, or maybe you're just kind of throwing up a prayer that they can fall to the Eagles? That the Eagles will give a flying F about a certain position.
UNC guy, Diamond Brown.
Okay.
Whew, that boy can fly. That boy can fly, dude.
What round do you think he'll go in?
I think back end second, maybe early third.
So maybe if we don't go there in the first, I mean,
okay. The thing with him is a lot of people don't know he is a vertical threat, but he had I believe Pro Football Focus put it out. His top 4 in the nation of contested catches. A lot of people don't know that.
That's awesome.
Strong hands, very strong hands. Problem with him is that's really more of a not air raid, but
I know what you're saying.
They're verticals. You know what I mean? A lot of their routes are verticals, so a lot of people are saying they don't know if he can run the route tree. He's got to prove that at the pro day, which I think he will. He's very twitchy, dude. I think he's legit. Like I tweeted, I put something out the other day. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. He actually liked the tweet. I said, to me, he reminds me of Michael Gallup.
Okay.
The type of receiver he could be, which I take
that.
I take Gallup on the team RP.
No doubt. Now I know you like those UNC running backs as well. Any running backs that you really like?
I was just about to name. It's going to come to a surprise to a lot of people because he's dropped so much this year. I like Chuba Hubbard.
I just was talking about him. Hell yeah, my man. All right, we're on the same page.
I'm a big Chuba Hubbard guy, man.
Yeah.
And not so much to be a number one, but I think he complements Miles Sanders to the T.
Dude.
Yes. He reminds me, he's not the type of talent that he is, but he reminds me of Le'Veon Bell, the type of runner he is.
Yeah,
very patient, excellent vision. He's got surprising track speed, man. Once he hits that open field, you're not touching him.
Game speed, man. He is explosive when he hits his hole. And dude, you're right. I think it was actually not on my show. It was on 4th and John's. They had me on, and that's somebody I brought up. They asked me for a random, offensive guy. And I was like, Chuba Hubbard, dude. Love it. Yes.
So the problem with him is he's a north-south runner. You're not getting him outside. But
that's why it's the perfect compliment, right?
Exactly. But I'm higher on him than a lot of people are, which in the beginning of the season, they were having him as the number 1 or 2 running back in the nation.
Yeah, dude, he was much higher. I remember that at the end of the year, and now it's like, wow, he's really falling from grace. That's fine. That's how you get yourself a diamond in the rough.
Sneak in. Yeah, I mean, 4th if you're able to trade up to get a 4th or early 5th.
And we've got 3/5, or so it's like, or 3/6. I'm sorry, 2/5. So it's like, hey, you could definitely be moving around here.
Yep.
Who knows if we move back in the first, get more, whatever. Yep. 3rd pick could come around. Maybe he drops to the 4th. Maybe I don't know how, but hey, who knows? Regardless, great name. Now, who on defense stuck out to you? Or no, your sleeper picks. Anybody not just at senior?
Defensively, I'm a big Teron Jackson guy from Coastal Carolina.
I like it.
I've been a big fan of him. He's not a high riser, but he's definitely a lot higher than what he was. He reminds me of like a Brandon Graham type of player, shorter, bigger body. He's actually a lot leaner now, training to his pro day. I'm actually due to interview him at some point after his pro day, but
nice.
He's very good. He's a bull rusher, dude. He is strong as an ox.
At first I was calling him Taryn, and I'm like, it's Teron. I'm like, Jesus, I'm messing it up. Yeah, but, I don't want him to find that out. He's a beast.
Yeah, he's a stud, man. But he's a humble kid, not really a huge chirper. He just gets in, grinds, does his work, and
we need in Philly.
That's what I love about him.
Love it. Mm-hmm. Now we're talking about all these players, all these guys you like, but what everybody really wants to know, what the hell are the Eagles going to do at pick 6? What do you think they're going to do? And what do you really, I mean, these are two completely separate things, and you know that. What do you want the Eagles to do? And what do you think they're going to do?
I want Jamar Chase to be there at 6, but it's not going to happen.
I know. Miracles. I know.
The only way it happens is if the Jets take Sewell at 2.
We need the quarterback push and then Sewell. Yep.
See, for me, a lot of people are saying we need that quarterback push 1 through whatever. But I feel if the Jets take Sewell at 2, it's going to be hard for the Falcons to pass on a Zach Wilson. It's going to be hard. You know what I mean? Like, for the Falcons, I don't know, man. It's really hard for me to see Jamar Chase there at 6, no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. You don't know if the Dolphins want to do something at 3. You don't know if, I really think obviously the Bengals, Sewell, if he's there, would be nice for them. But hey, what if they want a Kyle Pitts? What if, but then again, what if they want a Jamar Chase and a T. Higgins? And obviously Jamar Chase and Joe Burrows have quite a history. So, my God, that would be scary. But I hear you, man. I wish it was Jamar Chase, but who knows if that'll happen. So if he is gone, what do you think the move is? What do you think the Eagles do?
I tweeted it out last week, and I'm sticking by it. They're taking one of the Alabama boys. I just think with the whole thing with Hurts is, if what's being reported is true, that Jeffrey Lurie wants to build around Hurts and make him as comfortable as possible, not have to do what they did with Carson, you're going to go with one of the guys who he has experience with. It just makes the most sense. And it's not a bad thing. We
talked about the center. Why not a receiver?
Right. Those two guys are both top 10 talents.
And did you hear what he said? And, I made a joke a couple of weeks ago, like, everybody's about to find out who Jalen Waddle is this week, because everybody was on Chase and Devontae Smith. Well, no shit, that week, everybody's like, Jalen Waddle. I'm like, dude, if you didn't know, obviously the kid got hurt, but it's like, this kid is effing good. And I don't know if Devontae Smith wins that trophy because he would have lost so much to Jalen Waddle. He is effing good. Jalen Waddle
is my number 5 prospect.
I love it. Now, did you hear what Jalen Hurts said about him? He was talking about the guys who he thought would be a great pro.
Couldn't stop smiling.
He kept saying Waddle.
Couldn't stop smiling.
Dude, Jalen Waddle got him so excited. He was so pumped about his future. And so am I. But, some people are like, we already have Rager. It's like, who gives a shit? Have you seen the Chiefs? Have you seen what McCole Hardman, Tyreek Hill, Demarcus Robinson? Look, it doesn't matter how big you are. I mean.
That's very true. But the problem is you need some type of size.
Of course, that's why you need Fulgham to step it up if you're not going to take a Devontae Smith or a Jamar Chase.
But again, on the whole Fulgham thing, like I said beforehand, he was a practice squad player for a reason.
No, exactly. And that's why
great out of the gate.
That's why they need to take a number 1 receiver, right? Exactly. I'm not comfortable with an X receiver like that. So to me, I don't know if Waddle is the pick because we already got a guy like that, but I don't know if that stops you because if he's so good. But it depends really what's going on in front, in the first 5 picks, right?
I just feel out of the 4, Jamar Chase, Waddle, Smith, Pitts.
You think they would take Smith and Waddle over Pitts if they're all available?
It's hard to say because it depends on how Sirianni and Howie Roseman view him.
Yeah. I think Devontae is a stud too, though. I mean, it's hard to say, man. I know he's 175, but look, that dude could add a little muscle. I don't think that means anything. I think he could be
Chad Johnson said he would play at 180.
That's what I was going to just say. Ocho Cinco was somebody that likes him a lot and was busting on people because it's like, oh, yeah, you think that matters. Dude, this kid is a route runner, and Ocho Cinco is probably one of the best route runners I've ever watched. So to hear him praise him like that, you have to understand that Devontae Smith won the Heisman for a reason. And not saying just because Waddle's great that Devontae isn't, because they're both good. And I made a video last week, and I was emphasizing it last night. Like, please, guys, I don't care. If you put a name on the back of the jersey that says Chase, Smith, Waddle, or Pitts, I'm like, I'm not arguing with anyone. I don't care. You got us a weapon. I'm good to go.
Right.
And thank you, Bloom. Appreciate you.
I feel the same way. Thing with Smith, they that doesn't worry me. But he went untouched a lot in Alabama, which is a very good thing, but a very bad thing as well.
Because you don't see much. Exactly.
My thing is, I've seen him get hit, but I haven't seen him get cracked.
NFL hit, yeah.
Yes. So there's a difference. He has strong hands. I'm not worried about that at all. He's got some of the best mitts in the entire draft. Some of the best route running in the draft. I haven't seen him get cracked yet to the point where I don't know how his body's going to handle it.
That's a good point.
But that's still not going to stop me from taking him at 6.
Yeah, same here. It wouldn't deter me either.
I think he's a better prospect than Jerry Jeudy.
I said the same thing. The top 3 guys that everybody's been talking about, when you put Chase and Devontae and Waddle, in my mind, I think that they're better than last year's Lamb and Jeudy and Ruggs. So, hey, I agree with you there.
But for me,
go ahead.
I have it here in my notes. It's hard for me to pass on a Zach Wilson or a Sewell at 6 if they're there. That's
why I'm hoping Zach Wilson's gone, because I hear you.
Because if he's there or even a Sewell's there, it's just
they'll take either one of them.
You know how he's going to take either one of them too. You don't care about the weapons.
Oh yeah, I 100%. I'm with you on that, and that's why I'm like, I swear to God, the Jets better take Zach Wilson. I know. I just want to see what Hurts is, and if it's not, then you go quarterback next year. It is what it is. But we talk about this year. They say Jeffrey Lurie wants it to be built around Jalen Hurts. We've gone over the time, but we're going to touch on this real quick if you've got a second. Look. We've been talking about here on the Road to Victory about the restructures, what was coming our way, and literally everything that's been happening. Thank God it's the players I thought that should restructure, not be cut or anything stupid like that, especially some of these guys with the money. You can't. But we restructured. Today it was Javon Hargrave. So last night, that's what I was praying for last night. I said, if Hargrave would, I said, I don't know, because he signed just last year. He started playing better at the end of the year. Boom. Today, I'm like, you got to be shitting me. So Slay did it too. And wasn't Slay a big surprise? I was definitely thrown off by these guys. So now you're talking about Sayamalu, Brandon Graham, you got Hargrave, Jason Kelsey came back. You got a raise, but it's helping the cap. So there's a little bit of a restructure there. Darius Slay restructuring, and Lane Johnson all going to restructure, help out this cap situation. Right now, they say it looks like 17 mil, but that's not including the Lane Johnson. That's not including what Kelsey's number is going to look like. And I'm a little bit excited. We're almost there.
They're talking about us getting north of $22 million of cap space when it's all said and done.
Wasn't you that asked me that in the 4th and John chat?
Yeah. So I asked yesterday of what do you think the projected numbers will be around when all these deals are done? I didn't even put in the Hargrave numbers because I didn't think that was happening. But what's floating around on Twitter is anywhere from 22 to 30 million of cap space to play with. They realistically could spend 20 of that because of how high their cap space is next year. Yeah. So if that's true, you can get yourself a high end mid-tier guy in this, in this upcoming free agency.
Well, one of the things I've been talking about is the fact that, and everyone was losing their mind. So I was like, I'm making a video. So I made a video all about this stuff that could be done. And all these people right here that you see are exactly who I was talking about. And a lot of people didn't think it'd be done. Not only is it done, you're going to have that. And that's exactly what I said. Maybe even over 20, I said. And sure enough, here we are, over 20, maybe up to 9 mil, about anywhere between 7-9 mil you're going to need for your draft picks. So the rest of that money, like you said, and especially what a great year, because everyone knows next year that the salary cap is going way up because, the TV deal, all that great stuff. Yep. So maybe somebody signs a 1-year deal, a prove-it deal, because they know they can get that huge money next year. So we could surprise some people and get some nice names in free agency.
What this says to me with all these restructures is they don't want to be a rebuilding team. They want to win, regardless if it's, and they know that they could compete in this division. So that actually gets me very excited for this upcoming season, because if you have all these vets coming in saying, okay, I'll restructure, but we got to make it worth it.
Yep.
That means a lot. That means that this team is more of a team than we were portrayed last year.
And that's what people don't realize. So a lot of times, we want to see it a certain way. Maybe
Especially
we
during
got
the
rid of the
pandemic.
poison. What's that?
I said, especially during a pandemic.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, we see, and hey, look, the guys that are the true leaders, they're restructuring. They're coming back to help these young guys grow. So they're helping us through this.
Yep.
So it's not a complete rebuild. You got the guys you want to have, the leaders.
Yep.
So I'm all about it, baby.
Yep.
I'm getting excited about this. Free agency is going to come up. We'll definitely have you back on here, AJ. We'll talk about some of these free agents that are coming up. But it was great to pick your brain. Everybody was thankful in the chat here. I appreciate you guys letting us know how much you enjoyed it. We definitely enjoy you guys being here with us.
Thanks, everybody.
So, AJ, let these people know where they can find you, man.
You guys can find me on Twitter at AJ Torres 1230. You guys can hop into my DMs or comment me anytime you want about anybody that you want any information on, draft wise, free agent wise. I'll try to answer it as best as I can. I'm always putting out draft information, player information. So anything you want to know, just reach out and I'll try to do the best I can.
Yeah, I appreciate you having you on, dude. You coming on was truly a pleasure. And guys, you guys know I'm obsessed with all that stuff. So that's why I bring on people just like me. We have to have people that are just eating, sleeping football. And I'm telling you, dude, it's an exciting time for us because, the draft, the free agency, it's so much to look into. So we're putting in the work, and I hope you guys appreciate it. But please check him out. As he said down there at the bottom, you see AJ Torres, 1230. Check it out. All the great work he's doing over at 4th and John as well. All the talk to prospects from all the guys over there doing some really great stuff. Dude, it's going to be exciting. Draft coming up in like a month and a half. I'm getting pumped. But the league year starts in less than a week. So it's going to be nuts, dude. It's going to be nuts.
I'm so excited.
You got yourself a follow here. So
thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Spreading that brotherly love. Appreciate you, Houston. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hope you guys are all having yourselves a great night. If you need anything, always, reach out, whether it be about football, anything. But thanks again to AJ. Thank you all. Hope you guys are getting ready for that beautiful Friday coming up. Have a good one. And as always, go!